Hello, and welcome to 15 News. Coming up in this edition, Community Forum looks to build partnerships with local faith-based organizations. LTU holds Vigil for the shooting victims at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Southfield welcomes 2 new restaurants to the area. We'll have all these stories and much more coming up next on this edition of 15 News. Hello, I'm Chris Campbell, and I welcome you to 15 News. When 21-year-old Dylan Roof opened fire on a small congregation of people during an evening Bible study at the historic, predominantly African-American Charleston AME Church in South Carolina, it sparked hysteria and fueled national debates about the current and future state of race relations and gun control in the U.S. The terrorist act was one of the most devastating to happen in the country in recent memory. However, Southfield's Lawrence Tech University decided to be proactive in turning tragedy into a healing and constructive conversation on race relations.
The purpose of today is to get the Lawrence Tech community together to honor the victims that lost their lives, unfortunately, earlier this week. We want to try and have this be the start of a much longer conversation about race relations in our country.
Just bringing the community together, people of all races, of all societies, just to see that the event that happened is still tragic and that things like this shouldn't happen. And things like this, if we have more events like this, we can help prevent things like this from happening again.
In a civilized society, it is not acceptable that you go and hurt innocent people who are praying for their faiths. As Mahatma Gandhi said, that eye to eye only makes people blind. If some people have rage and anger, I think they have to express in a different way than hurting other people, because it will never stop. When you take a step like this, it only aggravates the situation.
Several dozen students, faculty, and community leaders gathered at LTU in Southfield to remember the 9 victims of the June 17th racially motivated shooting at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, student organizers hope that the event would help bring the community together to try and make sense of the ordeal. University faculty and student members extended their sympathies to the families of the shooting victims while advocating for everyone in the community to take responsibility to foster an environment of love and not one of hate.
He seemed to have had a gross misunderstanding of the African American people in our culture. And because of that misunderstanding, he felt it necessary to utilize an act of violence against the community. I also want us to understand it is a basic human necessity to have human interaction in relationships. And through getting to know one another in our culture, we gain the ability to appreciate our similarities, and also we become able to value our differences. And if we really want to become that melting pot that we present ourselves to be in America, then we can no longer segregate ourselves physically, socially, or structurally. Secondly, and I want you to please listen carefully, we must remember that we can no longer be innocent bystanders of hate. If we, as a student body, as a staff, faculty, as a community, if we do not stand against these hateful acts, then we will continue to follow the path that history has shown us. This path leads to injustice, and it leads to intolerance.
So at an academic institution, we have a responsibility as mentors, as teachers, as fellow students, as fellow staff members, and so forth, to find these areas where we can mentor young people. And they exist not only in one color, in all colors. And therefore, I think it is our responsibility as an academic institution that we partake in this process to minimize or abolish and eradicate this extremely nonsensical way of dealing with problems and social issues.
Southfield has long recognized the vital role that the faith-based community plays in the city. Now, a recent public forum helped to strengthen the connection between the city and local faith-based institutions. The Southfield Parks and Recreation Building played center stage to an outreach program that looked to present an overview of city departments and services with a view to building bridges between local government and secular and faith-based nonprofit organizations. The event was presided over by Council President Sylvia Jordan. Economic development was a key topic that was discussed at length by City Administrator Fred Zorn. Selected city department staff also had an opportunity to share their services and organizational objectives. In all, the program went a long way to ensure that the faith-based community would have the resources and tools that it needs to maximize its partnership with Southfield.
Are you hearing anything from your members who are in Southfield, that needs of the city that may not be met, or ideas? And you folks have interaction with a lot of other people, ideas, opportunities, things you see working well in one community that maybe we should look at. I want to plant the seed that we're open to doing these things.
Battery systems and technology development have long been hot-button topics in the automotive industry as automakers look for ways to meet increasing fuel economy and emission standards. A new partnership may help to push battery technology development into the regional forefront. Johnson Controls and Lawrence Tech University recently announced a new partnership where they would test and develop advanced battery systems in vehicles with the goal of helping automakers improve fuel efficiency standards.
So we've taken a 2012 BMW, which has start-stop technology using lead acid, and we are doing research and development on a product that we'll be offering in 2018, which is advanced start-stop. And we're using the facilities here at Lawrence Technical University, which we've invested in, and we are developing in partnership with Lawrence Tech to do additional experimentation and testing on the system.
State elected officials see the partnership as something that will positively impact the economy, both short and long term.
Lawrence Tech has been a tremendous asset here in Southfield, helping us to grow and build our local economy. But this is an asset statewide and really nationwide compared to the amount of work that they're doing to make sure that we have the advanced engineers and advanced research here in Southfield that's going to help move our economy forward and move this industry forward. Obviously, we are so tied into automotive here in southeastern Michigan. And a lot of the new research, which has been just tremendous over just the last few years, is happening right here at Lawrence Tech. And we should be proud of that here in Southfield.